Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening. This is Chaim, and I want to give you a tip on how to manage your data using pivot tables. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at the integration of pivot tables and dynamic ranges. So this video assumes that you, number one, understand how a pivot table works, where to find it, how to manipulate it, and number two, are familiar with basic formulae. What we'll talk about today is a little bit of something called dynamic ranges, which allow us to create more flexibility within formulae and will help us reduce the number of errors within our reports and continue the framework of bespoke reporting. So let's get started. So on the screen in front of you, you can see that I've put together a sample sales list here. And what we're going to do is we'll just make this into a pivot table. So you can highlight the sales list here. BP. And you'll see here that the table will automatically select the highlighted area. So as we normally would, we'll finish and we'll put that into our spreadsheet. Now, I personally am a little bit old-fashioned, and I do like the classic pivot table layout, but you're welcome to use the more recent customizable one on the side. And as we know, we can play around with our sales. We can see how much we've made, and so on and so forth. Now, let's say this was a live document. Now, most of our sales we'd like to see live. We like to see what they look like, and we want to get that information as we go. So if I continue here, we add another sale, and let's say we made that sale today. We'll say we've sold it to DCE Incorporated. Andrew is our salesperson, and he sold 780 at a price of $1.20. And Excel has automatically updated, and we can see here that we've now got another sale here, and we've made another $936. So I'll go back, and I'll go to update, and lo and behold, it has not updated. Now, if I were to have sent this report out to the head of sales, or if I would have published this somewhere, very clearly we would see that that number is not right. The number we were expecting was $18,743.85. Now, this is where we start to think about how we can use Excel a little bit more powerfully, because to have to sit and create every single day or every portion of the day additional tables would be very cumbersome on a support function, and frankly would probably not be a very good use of that person's resources. So what we're going to do is we're going to delete our 3 here, and we're going to use something called a range. Now, to create dynamic ranges in Microsoft Excel, we use what's called the offset formula, and I'll show that on the screen here too. Now, what the offset formula does is it takes a reference of a cell, so I'll go over here, and it will move from this reference down and across, and can select a range within there. And that will help us select the table above us. So if I take here and I say reference cell J27, go down 1 row with a positive number and go over 5 rows, now I can see the cell. So again, if I were to put something in here, so we went down 1 and over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I put a number in there, you'll see that it shows up right here on the side. Now, to do it very simply like this is not very beneficial, and it really doesn't help anybody, but it's very powerful when we start to integrate it with other things, such as the named range. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to use Excel's dynamic ranges. And I like to use dynamic ranges because it ensures that we're actually picking up the cells that we need, and we can always use the same set of data every time. So what we'll do is we'll put in our name. And our naming convention is best to use the name of the sheet with an underscore, and I like to put table in. Now we can put in our offset formula. So we'll offset our top cell. We won't move any rows down or any rows across because we want to start from that point. We'll count A, the number of rows, and then we'll count A, the number across. And count A, make sure we pick up strings, and make sure that we pick up numbers. Now, when I click here, I can see that my table is now selected. And regardless of whether or not I add another cell or not, as we did before, we'll use ABC Co. Kim, 505, at a price of 121. If I go back to select here, again, it will always pick it up. Now I can use my pivot table. So if I put in my pivot table and I put in sales underscore table and I finish, now we have our pivot table. And I can again put in the customer, customer name, and the total. And regardless of how many times I add new information, every time I go ahead and select this, it will always update. In our next tip, I'll show you how we can avoid this by actually creating the reports, again, using dynamic ranges. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And if you have any requests or requirements to develop new processes using Microsoft Excel or want to build upon source data such as this, please give us an email, chayimconsulting@gmail.com. Visit us on our website, chayimconsulting.com. Have a lovely weekend.